The chilling silence surrounding the disappearance of Winston Arthur Maxi III, a 15-year-old Idaho boy who vanished in 1971, has finally been broken. For over half a century, his unidentified remains rested in an Oregon cemetery, initially marked only as unidentified male juvenile, and known by investigators as Frog Boy due to the condition of his body. The unwavering dedication of law enforcement and the transformative power of modern DNA technology have at last brought his name to light, offering a measure of solace to a family long haunted by his absence. In the spring of 1971, Winston Arthur Maxi III, a youth brimming with the hope of finding employment, embarked on a journey from his family home in Boise, Idaho. His destination was the Oregon coast, specifically the Coos Bay area, where he believed job opportunities awaited him. Before departing, he informed his sister that he was heading to Coos Bay and planned to hitchhike his way to the Oregon coast. Tragically, the optimism of his departure soon gave way to a profound and agonizing silence. His family never received any further communication from him, leaving them in a perpetual state of worry and uncertainty about his whereabouts and well-being. Just a few short months later, on the 29th of July, 1971, human remains were discovered floating in Snedden Creek, located in the Englewood area of Coos County, Oregon. The local authorities, including the Coos County Sheriff's Office and the State Medical Examiner, initiated an immediate investigation. They meticulously canvassed neighborhoods, followed up on leads, and appealed to the public for assistance. The condition and positioning of the body led the investigators to nickname the individual Frog Boy, due to decomposition and the lack of identifying information. Officials were unable to determine the cause of demise. The discovery raised immediate concerns, but without a clear link to a missing person, the case remained unresolved. This John Doe case then receded into the annals of cold cases, a stark reminder of unsolved mysteries, periodically revisited with the slim hope that new scientific advancements might one day unlock its secrets. Despite efforts to locate him, there were no clear leads or sightings that could help track his movements after he left for Oregon. The unidentified body was subsequently interred in a local cemetery, its grave bearing the poignant inscription, "Unidentified Male Juvenile." Unbeknownst to Winston Arthur Maxi III at the time of his disappearance, he had fathered a child in Idaho. The child was later placed for adoption, and Winston continued on his journey, not knowing the life he had left behind. In 2016, Lori Merriam, Winston's daughter, who had been given up for adoption, began a determined search for her biological father, a man whose name was not listed on her birth certificate. Lori had spent her life with unanswered questions about her origins. Her search led her to her biological mother, who shared a painful piece of the past. At just 15 years old, she had been forced to give up her baby, and she revealed that the father was another 15-year-old, Winston Maxi. Lori shared her profound experience of meeting her biological mother. "When we first met, we hugged, and it was just like instant connection that was a puzzle piece that was missing and just filled my heart. I cannot even describe the connection." Motivated by the need for answers, Lori created a Facebook page titled, "Where in the World is Winston Maxi?" hoping to connect with anyone who might have known him or had information about his whereabouts. She also filed a missing persons report to make his disappearance official in the national database. However, despite her efforts, she encountered a dead end. Nobody had seen or heard from Winston since the 1970s. Through her research, Lori learned that Winston had reportedly fallen in with the wrong crowd during his teenage years. He was known to have had a strained relationship with his family and had ultimately run away from home, vanishing without a trace. The critical turning point in this decades-long cold case arrived nearly 5 decades later, in 2016, thanks to officials starting to investigate cold cases. Lori's quest to find her father led to a groundbreaking forensic effort that exhumed Frog Boy's remains and unlocked a long-lost identity through DNA. The Coos County Sheriff's Office, recognizing the immense potential of evolving forensic science, collaborated with the State Medical Examiner. A DNA sample was carefully extracted from the remains, and using a grant from the Oregon State Medical Examiner's Office, the team submitted the DNA to the National Missing and Unidentified Person Database. They also collaborated with Parabon Nanolabs, a leading genetic genealogy service renowned for its work with law enforcement agencies on cold cases, for further analysis. In May 2021, after another 5 years had passed, Parabon provided a detailed DNA profile of the unidentified boy. Although the profile did not reveal a name, it produced key insights into ancestry, skin tone, eye and hair color, and facial morphology. This data helped narrow the search and was meticulously compared against records from cold cases, missing persons databases, and genealogical databases. Eventually, the DNA evidence led investigators to the Maxi family. Detectives from Coos County reached out and requested a DNA sample from Winston's biological sister to confirm the match. Once her sample was submitted and analyzed, the authorities were able to confirm that the remains found in 1971 belonged to Winston Arthur Maxi III, who was born in 1956 and was a 15-year-old boy from Boise, Idaho. The identification of Winston Arthur Maxi III brought an overwhelming wave of emotions and a profound sense of closure to his family. For Lori Merriam, it was the end of a long search and the beginning of healing. Frog Boy was finally identified, and the missing persons case was solved. Winston's daughter articulated this bittersweet relief in a Facebook post following the official announcement. Today, the press release went out. The John Doe had now been identified. It brings me and my family some closure, but we still do not know what happened. Indeed, while the identity of the long-lost teenager has been confirmed, the precise circumstances surrounding his death remain shrouded in mystery. The forensic limitations of 1971 meant that no cause of death could be determined when his remains were initially discovered. There is no indication of foul play being explicitly ruled out or confirmed at the time. The question of what happened to Winston and how he passed away is still under investigation. The passage of 5 decades further complicates any potential reinvestigation into the manner of his death. Currently, the Coos County officials are diligently working with Winston's family in Idaho to issue a demise certificate and facilitate the return of his remains to them. This final act will allow for a measure of peace and a chance for his loved ones to finally mourn and remember Winston, whose story was interrupted for far too long. The case of Winston Arthur Maxi III stands as a compelling testament to the enduring power of hope and the remarkable advancements in forensic science. It highlights how the persistent efforts of individuals, combined with cutting-edge technology, can illuminate even the darkest and most prolonged cold cases, providing long-awaited answers and a path towards healing for families who have waited for decades. While the full narrative of Winston's final moments may forever elude investigators, his name has been reclaimed from the anonymity of an unmarked grave, his story now finally being told. For years, a chilling pattern of home invasion, sexual assaults, terrorized women across multiple North Texas counties. The perpetrator, a shadowy figure who moved silently through victims' homes, left behind a trail of trauma and, crucially, DNA evidence. It would take years, and the advent of sophisticated forensic techniques, to unmask the man responsible, Jeffrey Leurwheat. His eventual arrest and life sentence stand as a testament to the perseverance of law enforcement and the transformative power of modern DNA analysis and genetic genealogy in bringing justice to victims of long unsolved crimes. Jeffrey Leurwheat's criminal spree spanned nearly a decade, targeting women in the supposed safety of their own homes across Dallas, Denton, Collin, and Tarrant counties in Texas. The earliest identified assault occurred in 2003 in Arlington. In this terrifying incident, the victim reported a man breaking into her home at night. He sexually assaulted her while notably attempting to conceal his identity, reportedly nude except for socks on his hands and feet, and a white shirt covering his face. Due to the limitations of DNA technology at the time, forensic efforts in this case were initially suspended, leaving the victim without answers and the perpetrator at large. 8 years later, in 2011, a new wave of assaults struck, this time in the cities of Plano, Coppell, and Corinth. The methods varied slightly but shared a common thread of predatory home invasion. In the Plano assault, the victim was awakened by a man in her bedroom who immediately placed his hand over her mouth. In a moment of incredible bravery, she bit his hand, causing him to bleed. This crucial act left a bloodstain on a pillowcase, a key piece of evidence that would prove vital years later. Disturbingly, after the assault, the attacker made a phone call to the victim, attempting to apologize for his actions. A significant connection soon emerged among the 2011 victims. All three women were alumni of the same national sorority, Delta Sigma Theta. This discovery pointed investigators toward a highly unsettling possibility. The attacker might have had insider information. Indeed, further investigation revealed that Jeffrey Leurwheat had access to their personal information because he worked for a credit card processing company that the sorority had previously used. Furthermore, Wheat's ex-wife later recalled that he worked for Brink Security Customer Service around 2003, which was the security company used by the victim in the earlier Arlington attack. This suggested a calculated pattern of exploiting professional access to identify and target his victims. For years, the individual cases remained cold, or without a clear link. The breakthrough came with the relentless pursuit of justice by law enforcement, coupled with remarkable advancements in DNA technology. In 2018, the DNA evidence collected from the 2003 Arlington case was re-examined with improved techniques. This retesting provided the critical link. The DNA profile from the 2003 assault definitively matched the DNA found at the scenes of the three 2011 assaults, confirming a single serial offender was responsible. With a confirmed single perpetrator, investigators, primarily from Collin County, embarked on a 2-year intensive effort utilizing forensic genetic genealogy, FGG. This cutting-edge method involves creating a detailed DNA profile from crime scene evidence and uploading it to public genealogy databases. By identifying distant relatives of the unknown suspect through shared DNA segments, forensic genealogists can construct a family tree, narrowing down the pool of potential suspects. This meticulous research, combined with traditional detective work such as online record searches, social media analysis, and interviews, ultimately led detectives to develop Jeffrey Leurwheat as a prime person of interest. In November 2020, detectives made a pivotal step in the investigation by speaking to Wheat's ex-wife. She provided crucial corroborating information. She confirmed Wheat was the father of her child and, significantly, she identified him from surveillance video recorded at a gas station in 2011. This video showed a man using a payphone, the very payphone used to make the chilling apology call to one of the 2011 victims. She recognized his distinct walk, his shoulders, his height, and that he had glasses, solidifying the visual link. To build an irrefutable case, a DNA sample was then discreetly obtained from Wheat's child. Lab results from this sample provided the clinching evidence. The suspect's DNA profile from the crime scenes cannot be excluded as the possible biological father of the child. This scientifically linked Jeffrey Leurwheat directly to the assaults. Armed with overwhelming evidence, Jeffrey Leurwheat was finally arrested on the 11th of January, 2021, in Crawford County, Arkansas, bringing an end to his decade-long criminal activities. After his apprehension, Wheat was extradited back to Texas to face the numerous charges stemming from his crimes across multiple jurisdictions. On the 27th of February, 2024, Jeffrey Leurwheat, then 52 years old, entered a guilty plea in district court in Collin County. In a logistical arrangement facilitated by video conferencing, he was simultaneously sentenced by judges from all 4 affected counties: Dallas, Denton, Collin, and Tarrant. This multi-county disposition ensured that justice was delivered comprehensively for all his victims. Wheat received significant penalties, reflecting the severity of his actions. 2 life sentences for burglary of a habitation with intent of another felony, one from Tarrant County and one from Collin County, 30 years in prison for an aggravated sexual assault charge out of Dallas County, and 20 years for a sexual assault charge out of Denton County. Wheat's sentences were ordered to run concurrently, meaning he would serve them at the same time rather than consecutively. His attorney stated that under this arrangement, Wheat would have a chance of parole after 15 years, minus the approximately 3 years he had already spent incarcerated since his arrest. Perhaps the most impactful moments of the sentencing hearing came as 3 of Wheat's courageous victims stood before him in court. They confronted their attacker, bravely describing the profound trauma, fear, and lasting impact his actions had on their lives. Their powerful testimonies underscored the immense suffering Wheat had inflicted and provided a crucial element of closure. The Jeffrey Leurwheat case stands as a powerful testament to the evolution of forensic science and the unwavering commitment of law enforcement. It showcases how dedicated investigative work, combined with cutting-edge DNA analysis and genetic genealogy, can successfully identify and prosecute perpetrators in even the most challenging cold cases, bringing long-awaited justice and a measure of peace to survivors. For over 3 decades, a chilling mystery lingered in the Denver suburb of Sheridan, the identity of a man found deceased in 1988, a John Doe whose story remained untold and whose killer walked free. But thanks to the relentless dedication of law enforcement and the revolutionary power of modern DNA technology and genetic genealogy, the deafening silence has finally been broken. The grim discovery was made in late August 1988. Specifically, in August 1988, skeletal remains of a male were discovered near a dumpster in the 2800 block of West Oxford Avenue in Sheridan, a suburb just south of Denver, Colorado. Officers from the Sheridan Police Department were notified of an unresponsive male and quickly determined the man was deceased. He had no identification on his person, rendering him a John Doe from the outset. Despite the location of the body, the investigators were unable to uncover information about his hometown or any details explaining why he was in Colorado. The victim was referred to only as John Doe as authorities struggled to establish his identity. Initially, the investigators believed he might have been a Mexican national based on limited evidence and assumptions at the time. However, without a name, concrete leads quickly dried up, and the case, formally identified as Agency Case Number 880,813,111, eventually faded into the cold case files of the Sheridan Police Department. Despite thorough and tireless efforts from law enforcement, the case remained unresolved for decades, with no suspects or clear leads emerging to explain the circumstances surrounding his demise. The department never truly abandoned the investigation, keeping the victim in their thoughts and periodically reviewing the file, often with the assistance of the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, which had been involved in the case since 1989. The triumphant identification of Akram Badan was publicly announced in October 2021 by Sheridan Police Detective Brian Penry at a press conference. Penry underscored the profound significance of this breakthrough, stating, "The most important thing in this case, aside from giving the victim justice, is giving the victim his name back." John Camper, director of the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, echoed this sentiment, praising the extraordinary teamwork within law enforcement and the use of cutting-edge forensic technology to help bring resolution to these important cases. The case identification of Mr. Badan serves as another powerful example of interagency cooperation. While Akram Badan's identity has now been confirmed, the investigation into his homicide remains active. The case of identifying John Doe is now solved, and the victim has his name back, but the investigation into who ended Akram's life remains active. Details regarding his specific hometown in Israel, how he came to be in Colorado, and the precise circumstances that led to his death in the 2800 block of West Oxford Avenue have not been publicly disclosed. Investigators are now shifting their focus entirely to identifying the person or persons responsible for his death, with the hope that Badan's newfound identity will open doors to new leads. Chris Wilcox, Senior Chief Deputy District Attorney for the 18th Judicial District, highlighted the dedication of the Cold Case Unit, which was formed in 2013 specifically to address unresolved investigations. He assured the community and victims' families that the search for those responsible for such violent crimes would continue without pause. The Sheridan Police Department and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation are actively urging the public to come forward with any information that might assist the case regarding Akram Badan's life, his movements in 1988, or his death. Metro Denver Crime Stoppers has been contacted to collect tips, and a reward of $2,000 has been offered to encourage cooperation. Anyone with information is asked to contact Metro Denver Crime Stoppers at 720-913-7867 tips. Can also be submitted online at the Metro Denver Crime Stoppers site. The Akram Badan case stands as a powerful testament to the transformative impact of modern DNA technology and the unwavering commitment of law enforcement to cold cases. It demonstrates how long-standing mysteries, even those with initial dead ends and misdirections, can find resolution and provide crucial answers to grieving families, no matter how many decades have passed. The search for justice for Akram Badan, a man whose name was almost lost to history, continues.